Python lists are so important and used so often that we need to talk more about those. So let's talk about more about the list. Let's just say we're going to collect the car models, and currently we have no models at all. So if I do, let's say, do this statement, I am creating an empty list called cars, which has no elements in it at this point. So if I, let's say, save my code, and actually let's print cars right now. If I display that, it's just an empty list, there's nothing in it. So let's just start collecting cars. So before I display anything, I'm gonna add, let's say, comment, just got my first car model. And how do I add elements to the list? There's a method called append. So if I say now cars, this is the name of the list, and I say append, in the parentheses I can specify what element I want to add to the list. It's always going to be added to the very end of the list. Since list has no elements, it's going to be the first one with index 0. So let's just say I have the Subaru Impreza STI. Now when I have this element added, appended to the list, now when I print the cars, it's going to display that one. If I add another element to the list, let's just say I got another car. Let's change the comment to appending list elements. Cars append, let's say I got McLaren, right? So when I append that one and display the cars again, so save the file and run the code, now I have 2 cars in my list. So we can keep going like that, and you know what, instead of printing the whole list, I'm going to print them one by one. I'm going to say print current car collection. Okay, so I will use the concept of a loop we used in the previous video for car in cars. Print car. So now what I'm saying is I have an empty list first here. Then I'm adding the first element, which is the Subaru Impreza STI. Then I'm adding the second element after that, McLaren. I will print my card collection. You know what? Just to make it look nice, we can add maybe something like this, maybe. Kind of like a header. Right? And we are going to iterate through every car and print that car. So that's the for loop at the very end. Let's save our effort and let's display that now. Nice. Maybe I will add one more line so it looks like a proper header. Maybe like this. Right. And let's add maybe the new line at the end so we have a little more space here. So this way it presents that. We could also start with the new line here to give us even more room for presenting our collection. Let's clear the screen, and nice. Now, so let's just add a few more cars, okay, to our collection. Let's append maybe Nissan S13, maybe cars, append Toyota Supra, nice cars. And now our collection has grown a little bit in size. Now we have 4 cars, in our collection. Now, let's just say, for the argument's sake, that I want to maybe sell one of those models to a colleague of mine. Well, I can keep the track of those cars I sold and create another cars sold, maybe empty list at the very beginning of our code. Now, there's a bunch of ways you can remove information from the list or list elements. Pop remove last element of the list. How do we do that? So if I want to remove the last element of the list, so in my case it's Toyota Supra, right? What I would be doing is this method. I use the list name followed by dot and the method. My method in this case is called pop. If I do pop, the last element of the list, which is in my case Toyota Supra, is going to be removed and lost forever. So if I don't save it anywhere, it's going to be gone and I won't even remember I had it. So if I do want to remember what I sold, let's say that Toyota Supra, I can pop this element and save it in the variable car sold, for example. So I will pop this from this list here. The last element is Toyota Supra, that's what the method does, but it's going to be saved in the variable car sold. And if it's saved, I can add this later to my cars sold, append car sold. Do you see what I'm doing? I saved my car in the variable. The name of a car will be stored there, and it's going to be appended to the car sold list. So if I display the elements of the cars sold, let's do that, for car sold in, I should say maybe sold car in cars sold, colon, remember, enter and 4 spaces, I will say cars sold. What do I do? Want to do this? Print it maybe on the screen. So every car is going to be on just one now, is going to be displayed. So let's run the code and see what happens. So first I'm appending 4 cars to the empty list cars, displaying them using the loop. First I have this header. Then I'm going to pop the last car, which is Toyota Supra, save it in the car sold variable, add it to the cars sold, and display all the list of sold cars. Let's run this code. It's nice, but it's not exactly what I wanted. So what I just did is, first of all, I need a space and a header for sold cars. Let's do that first. So I'm going to maybe copy something like this. Like, let's go 2 lines, yank them from here and place them here. This is not going to be header like that. This is going to be cars sold. Okay, then I'm going to display not the list number of times, but sold car. So the element of the list is called sold car. And that's more like it. So now it should be exactly what I wanted. Toyota Supra. Now, what I want to do, maybe I'll just pop one more car. But this time around, I'm going to be selling, let's just say, McLaren. So what I want to, and I want to keep the track of what I sold and put it in the list of cars that I sold. So I'm going to pop this one more time. So in here, pop the, let's say it's going to be McLaren. So the index of list, remember the first element is 0. That's going to be element number 1. So the pop method, the second element index is 1. Remember that? I'm going to pop that element, which is McLaren. So how do I do that? I'll do cars pop, but now in the parentheses I'm going to put the index number 1 for McLaren here. I'm going to save it in car sold, and I'm going to add this cars sold append to this list. So now when I pop 2 of them in this particular order, first the last was going to be the last one, Toyota Supra, and then the second element, index 1, McLaren. In the car sold list, I'm going to be displaying 2 of those. Let's just run it and see that it works. And voila. So let me play with this a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is, in this particular code, I simplify the code, and all I have right now is first I created an empty list, like in previous video. We added 4 cars into the list, and we displayed all of them with the header. Let's see what we have right now. So when we run the code, we have the current car collection, and it displays one by one from the cars list in order. Now, there's another way of removing the cars. So how would I remove the car from the list? So we use the pop method with this parentheses, which removes the last element to the list. There's a way of removing an element using index in the pop method. So that would be parentheses and the number, index number. But there's 2 more methods. So let's just maybe remove the list element like this. Maybe, you know what? So cars remove, and I can remove the element by name. So let's just say I want to remove McLaren. So I will say McLaren will be removed from the list. So first I'm adding this McLaren here, but then I'm removing it. So if I do this, let's just say, maybe let's keep the track of what we're doing. I'm going to delete that line. I'm going to paste it over there. Okay. So, removing McLaren. If I display, so current list is going to be displayed right here. If I say print cars, now let's basically print the whole list, just to see that this will be removed. So if I print the cars at the very end, McLaren is going to be gone from the list. Let's see that it actually happens. Clear screen and run the code. So I have this list, right? And here McLaren is in the current collection. But then I remove that and print the list. Maybe let's go like in that list McLaren is gone, right? So let's just say if I remove another car, so let's just maybe remove that line, then I'm going to remove another one. So I'll go print and print cars again. But before I do that, I will remove another one. So let's just say cars. So I can remove using the car, using the car's name, or I can remove also the index number, but not using the pop this time. The command is actually del for delete. So from the cars, I want to remove, let's just say, so what's left actually here is Subaru and Nissan. Let's just say I want to remove Nissan S13. So that's index element. What's left in my list is 0. That's Subaru. 1 is Nissan. And 2 is Toyota. So Nissan is going to be removed from that by using element number 1. So if I print the list one more time, I'm going to say, I have Subaru STI and Toyota Supra, right? Let's see that happens. Run the code one more time. Current car collection. Initially, we have all 4 of them. Then we removed McLaren using car remove McLaren here. McLaren is gone from the list later. And then we removed the index. We deleted number 1, which was left, which is Nissan 13. And all we have left is Subaru Impreza and Toyota Supra. So that's yet another method of removing list elements.